to start, we'll just have you tell us your full name and where we are right now. And whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm Carolyn Obrick Houchin.
My full name is Kimberly Anderson-Stitt.
Maurice Powers in Savannah, Georgia.
I'm S.R. Banks from Rochester, New York.
My name is Dr. Jonathan Vlashuk.
My name is Sharina Zayed, and we are in Slavic Village.
It's Colton Clay, and we're in Green Mountain Falls, Colorado.
And I'm Adam Scher with the Nomadic Photo Arc, currently in Maitland, Florida. This is Portrait of Us, a living, transforming, and growing collection of people's stories from throughout the United States. For more information on the Nomadic Photo Arc and Portrait of Us, you can find us on social media at Nomadic Photo Arc, ARC is ARK, or by visiting nomadicphotoarc.com. In the summer of 2022, we spent 6 weeks documenting a specific neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio called Slavic Village. It's a neighborhood that was hit really hard in the 2008 crash and is still recovering right now. From the outside looking in, it might not look like it has a lot going for it, but the first thing that we noticed when we got there and started talking to people was how much pride they take, not only in their neighborhood, but in their homes as well. The two stories that we're going to hear today are two different ways of looking at the potential that this community has, the future that this community has, and showing their pride in where they live. The first person we're going to hear from today is Chuck. We sat down with him in the backyard of his childhood home. He lived there his entire life, except for a couple years that he spent in the suburbs. And right now he's in the process of restoring it. And you couldn't help but feel the pride that he had in his home, in the land that it was on, and in his neighborhood.
My name is Charles Gliha, and I'm on Indiana Avenue in Slavic Village. I've lived here all my life, with a brief stints in the suburbs. You know, we were raised here, and it was a good neighborhood. It was never heaven on earth, but it's a good neighborhood. It was everybody's working, and it was a very walkable, you know, the classic walkable neighborhood where people live near their church, live near their school, close enough to walk. And the stores around here, there were stores everywhere. A lot of them were gone, and it became very comfortable to live here because you didn't have to go far to get anything, including work. Of course, with deindustrialization, a lot of that fell apart, and you know we're reaping the consequences of all that. And in the yearning of so many people that live here was to move to the suburbs. It's just the classic American story: move out of the old city and find a better place in the suburbs. And a lot of the people here shot southward. That was just the general tenor of the neighborhood. Move to the suburbs. Get out of this dump, you know. And even I went out to the suburb. I went to Broadway Heights, where I found a 2-acre spread. It was the perfect opportunity to get out to the suburbs, but have a historic house to restore. And it was a beautiful Italian-style house, a lot of land, a lot of opportunity to work my skills on it. And then my mother got real sick. My dad died. I had to make a choice. Sold the house in the suburbs, made money on it, and moved back here to take care of her. To me, this neighborhood, despite all its problems, is a land of opportunity. It's an absolute land of opportunity, starting with the soil itself. It's very good soil. Compared to outer ring suburbs, which are all full of clay, for some reason this neighborhood is full of very sandy loam. Just starting with the dirt. It's a land of opportunity. I mean, we used to have spectacular gardens here, strawberries, everything you can imagine back here, and I'm going to bring all that back. So this is all going to come back next year. As soon as I finish out next year, I'm going to I love this property because it's got total sun on one side and total shade on the other. You got the best of two worlds. This is the last rose from my neighbors from the 1960s. This is the final rose, the last one, and it was blooming like crazy 2 weeks ago. So I'm saving that rose because it's a reminder of what was here a half a century ago, 70 years ago, you know. I could build a building here. I could turn it into an orchard. I could do a million things here. So everywhere you look, there's opportunity. Everywhere you look. I just love this place, you know. The whole house was totally rewired, all new systems. Everything's going to be new in this house. And it's an 1892 house, you know. And yet, inside of 10 minutes, you could get a machine and they could destroy the whole house and say, okay, we have another vacant lot. I don't believe in that. In a little postage stamp yard, we had too many strawberries. You didn't know what to do with those strawberries. Too many string. All of a sudden, all you're doing is eating string beans.
And that was Chuck. Ending our time with him by getting to walk through his garden was just absolutely amazing. And he's kind of in the old guard of neighborhood organizers, community activists in Slavic Village. And who we're going to hear from next is Aariona, and she's very much in this young generation who are coming up and they're ready to take that over from folks like Chuck. So let's hear her take on her neighborhood and what makes it tick.
Okay, my name is Aariona Trader. This is Slavic Village Development. So growing up, my mom always had this fear that something would happen to me. So I was very much an inside child. My mom had some really bad encounters with people who couldn't quite accept the fact that black people were moving into this neighborhood. So it made it difficult to really fit in. It's always something negative, so it's like somebody got shot or someone's house got broken into. So it's like that kind of fear amongst everyone. But once I started to come outside and I started to see everything for what it was, it's like I met some really interesting people. This neighborhood has so much to offer. It's not just a random area that everybody just moved into because it was affordable. It's once I started to know about the little businesses here, and I was just like, wow, this is a really small little community that has a lot going on. And it just really opened up my mind to everything. And now it's certain places I don't have to go far out anymore because I know where it is here. I didn't realize that there was a pizza place over there, or people who would make baked goods in their homes. And it was doing the outreaches, I got to meet a lot of my neighbors, and then I ran into them other places, and it was mind-blowing because I never thought that this neighborhood had that. I don't know, it's I call this place home, and it's just at times you're gonna be it's kind of scary here. But if I hear anybody else say anything, it's oh, I'm going to be ready to fight, because you don't talk about my home, even though sometimes I do, but that's not the point. You're not from here, you can't speak on it. Once I started to wear my Slavic Village shirt, people always had their comments oh, well, I heard it was racist there, or I heard it was just this poor area. And it's just there are a few racist people here, you're gonna find those people everywhere that you go. There's always gonna be that one person I want to go back to the way it was. Just whoa, it's 2022, sir, it's not gonna happen. So it's that. And then it's also yeah, it's kind of poor here. It's we don't really have a lot, but what we do have is unity. I can say that there are times where bills couldn't quite get paid, and my neighbor just so happened to receive our bill, and he was just well, I paid it off for you. And that made things so much more better. It made everything so much more easier, because it was just wow, you have that unity. Or my neighbor, he had a garden, he would give us fruits and vegetables. And it's just, I think it's more of talking about it, which changed people's perspective. Because if it wasn't for me wearing that shirt, those conversations would have never got sparked up, because nobody's going to look at me oh yeah, you're from Slavic Village. So it's the more I talk about it, the more I bring it up to people, the more they see oh, it's actually not a bad place. Yeah, we got our flaws, but for the most part, it's a overall pretty good place. You'll meet some interesting people here who have talents, who offer a lot of things, and it's the people right next door to you.
That was Aariona. We spoke with her and with Chuck in Slavic Village, a neighborhood of Cleveland, Ohio that we were in the summer of 2022. As always, you can subscribe to our newsletter for more information, portraitofus.substack.com, or find us on social media at Nomadic Photo Arc.
Yeah, so that's the way it is. Yeah, this is when we were little kids used to play back here. And then the garden just kept getting bigger and bigger.